Streaming live around the world, this is Paper Cuts with Brad and Jay.
I'm the one you love. I'm Jay. Thanks so much for stopping by. Over there's Brad. It's his show.
It's his show. That's why I'm the host, and we just love Jay.
Now you know it's all natural. I mean, nothing's rehearsed, right?
No, absolutely nothing is rehearsed on this show.
God, you just suck the life out of me. It just feels like
You've got a lot grayer since we started this.
I have. I know. I have. Woohoo! Red Lagoe is stopping by to chat with us. Yes.
We are live.
I don't know. I don't know. Sometimes it's like Thursday or Friday. I'm like, I got to put together this opening, and I'm like, I'm working and whatever. My gosh, people! If you would hear,
Jay, you're never allowed to laugh at me for one of the game intros ever again. Ever again, Jay.
Wait until the people hear about the conversations we have behind the scenes here. But what a beautiful evening! Happy Saturday, everyone! Happy Saturday night. Hope everyone's having a good day. Brand spanking new episode of Paper Cuts. That's Bradford over there. I'm Jay. Enough about us. Our guest this evening, no stranger to the show. She's a friend of the show. Last time we had her on a while back, she was here about the release of the Nightmare Sky anthology. She's a writer of short story collections. She's an artiste.
Yeah, she is.
Her latest and brand new collection came to the world yesterday. This is when everyone holds it up. Check out the title of this. Impulses of a Necrotic Heart and Other Afflictions. My God, if that's not deep.
No, Brad had a close up on the hole there.
Yeah.
A little necrotic.
Yeah.
Close up on the hole.
This is starting out great.
It's gonna be that kind of night.
Welcome to the program, everyone. Red Lagoe. Thanks so much for agreeing to come back, by the way, after the previous times. But yeah, Rowan Hill, thanks. That intro, I did that. Thanks.
Intro was magnificent.
Look, it's just like I could have just said, "Hey, welcome to the show, Red Lagoe," but then that ruins my whole intro. Right? So
I need that intro in my life.
Yeah.
This is the only situation ever in most people's lives where you're gonna have that kind of echoing WWE kind of come alive intro. So I'm here for it. I'm all for
it. Was it David Joy? He was like, I think I just feel like I'm about to go in a wrestling match.
He thought he was going to Rumble. He thought he was going to Rumble or something. That's what it was. Okay, we have to. We're going to get to your book. Okay, Red. We're going to talk about all kinds of your stuff, your art, your giveaway, and all that stuff. But we were having a conversation backstage, and if we had like a Patreon thing or after hours or OnlyFans or whatever, we would probably save it for that. But we have.
That's where you'd see the hole. Sorry. Sorry.
You're allowed to be that naughty. It's not 10 o'clock.
Yeah, he beat me to the joke.
Brad, right. What were we talking about backstage?
So we're talking about what everyone was drinking, and I'm just drinking water because I said I have to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning because we're driving to the beach tomorrow. And Jay was like, "Why are you doing that for?" It was like, because we have fall break next week, and neither Red or Jay have ever heard of being on fall break for the kids out of school.
Fall break? Oh, I've never heard
fall break.
Fall break. It's not like winter break or Christmas break yet or spring break. It's fall break.
Yeah, fall break.
School just started. Who needs a break?
If you've ever heard of fall break, let us know in the chat. And if you haven't heard of fall break, let us know that Red or Laurel knows about fall break.
So you get a whole week off already in fall.
Yeah,
right.
The second, what is it? Second through the 6th, they're out of school next week.
What did you break?
It's got to be just a Kentucky thing.
Yeah,
it can't be.
Anyone else from any other state?
See, Laurel knows no fall break? Question mark. She knows.
Any other states listening? Tell us if you've heard of fall break.
Rowan thinks I'm lying.
Fall break, yeah.
Fall break's a thing. They're out the first week of October this year.
For what?
No fall break. No. I grew up in New York.
Oh, Laurel only gets 2 days.
And my kids have been in schools in Maryland and Virginia, and no fall break in any of those.
Right.
I think LJ's in California. He doesn't know what fall break is.
Oh wait, Holly said they have fall break, sort of.
They have it in
County Fair,
North Carolina. What? Kids get to wake up during the county fair. That's totally a Texas thing.
See, I have heard of Southern Ohio, because I'm in Columbus, Ohio, so it's right smack dab in the middle of Ohio. But Southern Ohio, I do know some schools, it's not like an official thing, but some schools do give like a week off when hunting season starts. I don't know when that is because I'm not a hunter, but I do know that some schools give a week off when hunting season starts. So
when I was growing up, upstate New York, it was farm country up there.
Yeah.
We didn't get a week off for hunting season, but there was often like the first day of hunting season, a lot of kids wouldn't show up to school, and like nobody blinked an eye.
But it wasn't like fall break. It wasn't
it wasn't like
it wasn't like you've been in school for like 9 weeks. You need a little break now, right?
No.
Paul's like, it's like 3 o'clock in the morning where Paul's at, and they get autumn holiday. Paul's guys, let me tell you, Paul's a trooper. He always shows up almost all the time, and it's like for real 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning where he's at. Props to Paul.
Cow.
Autumn holidays. Paul. What autumn holidays are there? What?
Fall break, Halloween, and what is it? Was it Labor Day?
Wait, so Paul's overseas then?
Yeah,
Paul's he's overseas.
They get time off all the time because they're nice.
Laurel gets a week off in February too. Kentucky just gets all the days off.
I mean, we get a spring break. We get a winter break. A winter break's like 2 weeks, and spring break's a week.
Yeah, we get summer break.
And summer break's like 2 months.
We get one for every season: spring, summer, fall, and winter.
It's just a Kentucky thing. I mean, you really wore those brains out for 9 weeks to need a little break.
We did.
Okay. Well, this conversation.
Let's segue. We'll segue.
How are we going to segue that?
So, Red had this released yesterday, dropped in the world yesterday.
Great segue.
Is this why to get a fall break so they can read this over?
So they can read this. So they can read great literature on fall break. So what was the reception for this yesterday? A lot of people loving it, picking it up.
The fuck if I know. No, everybody was incredibly supportive. Everybody wished me a happy release day. I haven't looked at the numbers. I try not to look at numbers. Like I don't get on and look at how many books sold.
Like ever, or do you just?
No, I do, but I don't do it on day one because it can be really disheartening if the numbers aren't up there. So I don't know. I really don't know how it's gone yet because I haven't looked.
Okay,
I'm not really scared because this project was it was an impulsive project. So yeah, we'll see what happens.
So forget about the numbers and everything. Has anyone contacted you or messaged you saying, "Hey,
negative.
This was awesome. This was great." How about that? How about that kind of reaction?
JG's like, "Well, what do you think about the negative reviews?"
I haven't looked at any reviews yet, so
no negative. I mean, there's a few reviews. So I didn't give this a lot of time. It was a really impulsive project, like I said, and you usually have to give a few months to allow reviews to come in, and I didn't allow that with this one because I just wanted to kind of push it out the door, and I wasn't so much concerned about making it a success as I was just getting the project out there.
Okay.
And that doesn't mean I like just pushed shit out the door.
No, it's definitely a very quality product.
No, the stories were already written. Like 90% of the stories were already written when I decided I was gonna do this collection.
I was going to ask you about that. So these are stories that have appeared other places, or you've sat on these for a while, or what?
Yeah, I said 90. 90 is a terrible number. What do I got? 15 stories.
89. Okay.
15. Don't make me do math right now. I've been drinking.
79.68% Jay have been previously appeared.
So 15. 5 of them are new. So a third. Like a third of the stories are brand new.
Okay.
Nice.
That have never been published before. And the other 2/3 are stuff that's been previously published. And some of the stories were already written. I just had to go in and polish them up. They just hadn't been published. So the stories were there. The stories were ready. And I decided I'm going to make a collection. That's when I did all the art and stuff like that and turned it into a book and pushed it out the door. I was less concerned about building hype for it as I was just getting them out there.
Right. And this is on the Death Knell label. For those that are not familiar,
Yeah.
Who makes up Death Knell Press?
I'm Death Knell Press.
I just want to say for those not familiar with it. So
yeah, so it's my imprint. So Death Knell Press was when I first started self-publishing, I published under the imprint La Red Books. Because I published under my legal name, which is not Red Lagoe, it's a different name, and I did children's books and stuff like that. So when I started writing horror, and really got into horror, I figured I needed to change my imprint, and so I changed it to Death Knell Press while also launching Nightmare Sky and deciding to publish other people as well. So yeah, so it's Death Knell Press is not only my self-publishing imprint, but it's also like my little baby step into publishing other people.
I know we covered that when you were on for Nightmare Sky. I just didn't know if we have some new listeners wanting to know, oh, who's this Death Knell Press? You know, to get excited about it. So
yeah, it's just me. It's nothing fancy.
I think it is.
It's
fancy. I think it's pretty cool to have your own. So I mean, technically, you have your own label. So
yeah, it's my midlife crisis.
Shirley Lopez says your husband got the tattoo, the Death Knell logo.
He did. Shirley's my neighbor. Thank you, Shirley, for coming.
Did she give him the tattoo? Is she a tattoo artist?
Yeah. She was like, yeah, come on over. I got a needle and some ink.
So out of the stories that are new, did you write any specifically for the collection, or they just happen to be unpublished stories and you picked them up?
I did write some specifically. So the opening and closing stories are written specifically for Impulses of Necrotic Art. The opening one, the title story is called Impulses of Necrotic Art, and the closing one,
too, by the way.
Oh, thank you. It wasn't the original idea for the title, so I kind of landed on that one eventually. And the closing story is kind of like a bookend story, kind of like what I did with Lucid Screams, where they're kind of connected. So those two I wrote specifically for this collection.
Okay. I remember that from Lucid Screams. I really like the bookend stories connecting together to tie the collection together. I like that a lot when people do that.
So Impulses of a Necrotic Heart. So and other afflictions. I'm sensing a theme. So if someone's going to pick this up and going to realize all the stories are connected a certain way without giving away too much, that the title does not give away.
No, they're not all connected. That's just my clever way of making them all connect.
Okay.
Because these were all. So what happened was I realized that my last work, Dismal Dreams, came out in 2021, and I wasn't going to have anything else released until 2023. So, no, 2024. So a full 3 years were going to go by before anything was released. I mean, I did Nightmare Sky, but that wasn't my work. I mean, it was my editing and it was my work as a publisher, but it wasn't my writing. And so I really wanted to just put something out this year.
Yeah.
So 3 years didn't go by, and I had stuff. I had all these stories that I was going to have the rights back to, and there's no reason I couldn't put out a collection because the stories are already written. I just had to put in a little bit of work and make it happen. I forgot the question. What the fuck was the question?
I don't even know. Was there a question in there, Brad?
I don't think there was.
Question in there?
Okay.
I do have a question.
I might have been making a statement, and we just.
Oh, the theme. Yeah. So.
Happy Saturday night, everybody. Hey, have another drink. What are you drinking?
Yeah, so I had plenty of stories. I actually had too many stories. It was way too many words. It was something like 60,000 words. It was just too much for a little collection. So I kind of weeded out the stuff that didn't quite fit together, and I started noticing this this theme between the stories, which was they all kind of had more heart in them than I thought my other stories have ever had. They were a little closer to the character. They came from I don't know, I guess darker places within my own heart. And once I realized that, it just kind of turned into what it is.
I was saying, so you were talking about you hadn't had a release since like 2021. Do you, as an author, do you feel like that pressure to like quote unquote stay relevant and keep putting work out? Like, is that
That's what
All
this is
the
for,
time.
Brad. She was like, "Hey guys, don't forget about me.
Yeah. No, I'm just
got-
asking
I got-
because like
I got novels coming out, but here in the meantime,
yeah, because
if
I know
you have-
you've got a book next year. Or do you have 2 books next year or one
I have-
next year and one 2025?
I have 2 books next year.
Okay.
Yeah, so I have In Excess of Dark that comes
Mhm.
out with Dark Lit Press in
Ooh.
March 2024.
we're big
And that's a
Dark Lit
novella.
Press fans. Yeah,
It's a novella, and it's I went to some dark places for that one.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know
I
if
think
that
you
one's gonna be for everyone.
I think you usually go to kind of dark places for the most
Do
part.
I? Okay. They may have gotten darker. And then I have Bloodstains by Gaslight. That's coming out. It's a novel. It's coming out with Brigade's Gate Press.
That's such a cool title.
In July. Oh, thank you. My husband helped me with it. I I knew I wanted Bloodstains. I knew I wanted Gaslight, and I couldn't get it all right. And then my husband was
Uh-huh.
like, "What about Bloodstains by Gaslight?" I was like, "Motherfucker! Yeah, that's perfect."
That's cool.
I hope I can say
that one's a
motherfucker on the
novel.
show.
That one's a long piece. Then
That's a novel. Yeah.
yeah, okay.
That
Little,
one.
change your pace from your
My
3
short-
collections of short stories. Okay.
Yeah, I'm a sucker for some short stuff, but yeah, that's a novel. That one dives into teenage relationship abuse, which is something I'm not gonna get into it this show because
We got a while.
Yeah,
we got a while
but
to talk
like,
about it.
we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it
Yeah.
some other day.
We'll prepare ourselves.
Maybe
Yeah.
June 2024. We'll talk about it.
There you go. Is it historical fiction though with the gaslight? Like, is it set back then or
No, it's not like
Is it gaslighting?
I like
Okay.
gaslighting. Yeah.
okay? Gotcha.
Yeah, so it's about it kind of shines a light on relationship abuse, but told through the lens of a vampire tale.
Oh, see, vampires. You
that's
guys.
that's
I
up
mean,
Brad's alley
instantly.
right there. Yeah.
Vampires.
So they're not sexy vampires. It's not.
No. I like the brutal
Yeah.
vampires.
Yeah.
I don't want
they're
the sexy
fucking
ones.
awful.
Yeah.
So it's a whole, it's
Si-
a whole metaphor for the abusive person being the vampire.
I like that. I'm excited. That's the novel one, right? The vampire.
It's a novel,
one?
yeah.
Nice.
2024 July.
And Laurel's, she's already read the Dark Lit novella.
Yeah,
loves
she
it.
did. She left me
Yeah.
a wonderful blurb. Thank you.
We're big fans. We work with Andrew from time to time with Dark Lit, and we're big fans. So I'm excited for that one.
He's wonderful. I've learned so much about publishing just being published by him. Yeah,
I don't think he sleeps. I don't think he sleeps.
No, he doesn't.
He can't because of all the
No.
stuff he's doing. So
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, Andrew with Dark Lit Press. He's working hard behind the scenes. Yeah.
I agree with you, Luna. Vampires should be awful.
Mm.
Yeah.
The glitter happy vampires. Those aren't right. You got to do the nasty ones. So
So
with your
with
go ahead, Jay.
I wanted to talk a little bit about the artwork and what we're doing tonight
Mhm.
because for those that are here already to make them
Some
stick around.
giveaways. Yeah.
We have giveaways.
Stick around. Please don't leave
Selling
me.
out.
Stick around if you want to win stuff.
How do I enter the giveaway? Just by showing up in the chat, you're entering the giveaway.
Yeah.
And we'll do some trivia in a little while.
What are we giving away?
My soul.
Besides that.
Well, everyone.
Tonight she's going to change her name
chat.
to Dark Red Lagoe, by the way. She's just so
Dark red.
I like that. A dark red. Anyone who's in the chat, anyone who just pops in and even says hi, will be entered to win a copy of the book. I'm all glary. The book, a
I know.
paperback.
the lights all glary. but-
I'll put you on one of those spinny things and get your name and enter you. I hope. Do you have a list? Am I going to have access to this list of names? Will that just be something I can look up afterwards?
Yeah, the chat will always be there.
I should have worked out those logistics ahead of time.
I mean, after the show, it will show up again like in 12 hours.
All right, cool.
It'll be there before the
The
weekend.
chat's
Yeah,
always
we'll
there,
do
yeah.
a little spinny name thing, and someone will get one of these. If you're in the U.S., it'll be a signed copy. If you're not in the U.S., I'm sorry, I'm broke, and it'll be a not signed copy, just shipped directly from the printer.
Hey, it's still a free, awesome collection though. So
Yeah, if you stick around for the trivia later, anyone who participates in the trivia, I don't know how. I guess we should. I didn't work this out either.
We'll wing it. That's
Right answers will be entered in. We'll figure it out as we go. We'll be entered to win pretty much artwork of your choice from the collection.
nice.
So you have what the master prints of each of the pieces of art?
I do.
How do you have them, like framed or just
Yeah.
like how are
No,
they?
not.
Just
I
on a
mean,
piece of paper or? Sorry.
I'm normally the most organized person, and I considered all these things prior to the show, and then I didn't do them. So bear with me.
That's okay.
Nobody said you had to send it out right away.
I know there's so much going on right now. Like this time period, like the last month and until probably the end of October, are incredibly hectic in my personal life right now. So bear with me. I'm just trying to ride the freaking tsunami. But yeah, we'll be able to win the original artwork of your choice. They are 7 by 11 inch ink and charcoal drawings.
Cool.
And you can pick which one you like the best, and I'll ship it to you. If it's in the United States. If you're in like Canada or the UK, it probably won't be framed. It'll be like just the print rolled in a little tube just to save on shipping costs, because I don't have that kind of money.
Shipping's ridiculous.
It's nuts, isn't it? It's just crazy.
It's insane. Yeah, I shipped
some of these
an envelope of bookmarks to Canada.
Well, I want to show the
it was like a padded envelope
in between chapters, because it's the cover of the book too. If they'll show the heart.
Oh yeah, a little heart.
The heart's great
with the tree.
So I know you talked recently because I asked you to commission. Yeah, that one's cool. My kids do not like that one.
No.
It's not
no, they're like,
kids.
what is
one of my favorites?
They're like, what is wrong with
not
that?
for kids who have fall break.
Shut up. But I know I commissioned you for a piece, and you kind of were talking about like you were just sort of kind of getting back into art because you've done it, like I guess when you're younger, and then kind of fell out of it and kind of got back into it. So what's it been like for you to get back into art? Because you've been doing covers for your stuff, and you did the cover for Laurel, you did the Death Knell Press logo, you drew a logo for me. So what's it been like getting back into art?
It's been fun. It's been therapeutic. Like when I sit down and do art, I can just kind of lose myself a little bit. Yeah, bloody ears.
That just looks painful. Oh.
My favorite one is the dogwood one. It's like, I feel like it's a simpler one, but I don't mean that as like a condescending way.
I don't want to show them all because
the ghost like dogwood petals. I like that a lot.
I'll show it. I like the dogwood because that one's a one. Shit. Here we go. Little ghost guy.
I love that. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to distract you from your answer. You were saying
that's right. I'd rather you distract me because I'm probably going to say just. Well,
I don't get very many books with pictures in them, so I get excited. Okay.
Picture books.
I gotta do picture books. Then I grew up on picture books. I wasn't the 10-year-old reading Stephen King. I was a 10-year-old that was still reading Dr. Seuss. I wasn't that kid who was an advanced reader. I was a very slow reader. I appreciate illustrations.
Yeah.
So has this always been your art style, the kind of like the charcoal and pen, or has that evolved since you kind of got back into art?
I think I don't know if I ever really had a style because I never really explored my style. I was really into it in high school. I thought I'd grow up to be an artist, whatever that meant.
I think a lot of people did that.
Yeah.
I did too. Just FYI, but I like that.
But you did grow up to be an artist.
I did eventually.
You
did. Another part of my midlife crisis. I was like, I'm gonna fucking do it, man. I'm gonna do it. Yeah. So I started messing around. This is probably a year or two ago. I can't remember when. Just with a Sharpie, just a standard Sharpie pen marker. And I just started sketching out some drawings, and I was having fun with it. And I realized, maybe I could do better if I had some good pens. And so I went out and I bought some Micron pens and started playing with ink. And I fell in love with ink. I absolutely love working with ink now. Mm-hmm. And I like working with charcoal, but charcoal's hard and messy. It's a little difficult to control. Mm-hmm. And so I like combining the two because I can get the precision with ink And then add a little charcoal for that moodiness. And I really like
the
Yeah.
shading. And stuff, yeah. They're asking in the chat if you're going to be at Monster Fest.
I will be at Monster Fest. I'm going to be
Oh.
there with Rowan Hill, who I think is in the chat, or she was in the chat.
Nice.
Yeah.
She may have left.
She and I are going to be sharing. That's okay. She and I are
She
going
watched
to be
that
sharing the
intro and
table.
she's like, I'm out.
But the band people have lives. It's Saturday night. I appreciate everybody for showing up tonight. That's really cool. Saturday night.
So are you going to have copies of this available at Monster Fest for people
I
to buy?
will. Yeah, I'm gonna have copies of this. I'm also gonna have a few copies of oh, this is the bad copy. This is the copy with the mark, but Dark Corners of the Old Dominion. We just released this one through Death Knell Press. It's a charity anthology
Nice.
that supports Scares That Care. So I'll have some copies of that and some of the old stuff. But yeah, Monster Fest in Chesapeake, Virginia is October 7th, and it runs all day. It's at the Chesapeake Central Library.
That's during fall break for anyone who doesn't know.
So if you live in Kentucky and you're on fall break,
that's where you need to be. You need to come out
Yeah,
to
that's where you need to be.
Chesapeake, go to Monster Fest, go to Virginia Beach, go check out the waves.
So do you have a favorite piece of art in here, or is that too hard for you to narrow one down?
It's kind of hard. I think I gotta look at it because I can't remember what's in it. I think
I mean, she's got so many.
between
Yeah.
I write too many short stories. I think it's probably between three of them. Dogwood,
Mhm.
Hollowed Hearts, which is about Dogwood is about a father whose child goes missing, and he keeps seeing this sheep ghost appearing. And it's about his search for his missing child. And Hollowed Hearts is about a bullied little boy who kind of is somewhat neglected, not intentionally neglected, but he's kind of neglected. And he develops this obsession with the bats next door or across the street. And the other one is 14 Gallons. I really enjoyed writing 14 Gallons because it's kind of like an apocalypse story, but it's really focused on just a couple in their final moments before everything ends.
Did you make the art from the stories, or did you have these pieces of art ready to go and write stories from the art?
No, I drew each piece specifically for the stories, which was, I wasn't planning on doing that event originally. So, like I said, Impulses of a Necrotic Heart was kind of an impulsive decision earlier in the year. I was like, I'm going to put something out this year, but it has to be something already written. I can't just throw something together because I don't like to just push shit out the door. So I had all the stories. I figured I'd do the collection because I had enough of a word count. And then when I decided, I was like, yeah, this is what I'm going to do. I can do this. You know, I have several months to put this together. I'm going to be fine. I can get it out the door in time. And then I posted it publicly. And then Sadie Hartman commented on my post and she asked, is this going to be illustrated? And inside I was like, fuck, I don't know. I don't know if I have time for that. I knew I had time to write. And I knew I had time to, write the couple of stories I needed to write and to revise and send it to, the editor for, polishing and whatnot.
Right.
But I hadn't considered illustrations for some reason. And so I thought about it for about 10 minutes and I was like, fuck it. Yeah, it's going to be illustrated. So that was probably, I didn't rush that. So every time I read and edited, kind of polished up one of the stories, I went in and I illustrated it that day. So yeah, it worked out.
So I think people are coming to expect you to have illustrations in your books from now on.
God, I hope not, because my next one's not going to have illustrations.
Every chapter you have a whole new illustration.
If I publish it myself, it'll probably have illustrations.
Okay.
Yeah.
I noticed you, because I know we've talked before, and you're kind of big in astronomy and that world. I noticed you were able to
Snuck one in there.
sneak one in there about astronomy. Which one is that?
Is that infectious glow?
Yeah.
That's a cool
Yeah.
picture. I don't want to show all the pictures. That's a cool
I
picture.
know I don't want to show them all either. I want the winners to be surprised, but
Yeah, so
I felt for Chuck. I like Chuck a lot in that story.
I actually know one of the amateur astronomers I worked with often. His name is a couple of the amateur astronomers I did volunteer work with were named Chuck. So I guess it could be either one of them, but it's not really either one of them. He's a completely different character. Yeah. So it's about infectious glow is about Betelgeuse, the star Betelgeuse. Or Betelgeuse, or however.
I'm glad you pronounced it because I was totally butchering it while I was reading it. Not saying
I always say Beetlejuice.
well, I mean, in the movie Beetlejuice, they actually say it the other way too. They at one point
Betelgeuse or Betelgeuse.
Betelgeuse. I hear guys. Yeah.
I'm not that kind of astronomer. I mean, I'm not even an astronomer. I'm like an amateur. I'm a wannabe. I'm a person with a telescope who likes to look up. That's all I am.
But you know a lot about astronomy, though. Like, is there any scientific basis whatsoever for anything in that story, or did you just make everything up?
Well, I mean, Betelgeuse will go supernova eventually. It might not be in our lifetime, but it's going to happen. So that story was inspired by a couple of years ago. Was it 2019, 2020? I don't know. Few years ago. Betelgeuse, the star, which is a red giant, it's expected to go supernova at some time. It started dimming unexpectedly. Like the star started dimming, and the whole astronomy community was like, "Whoa, what's going on?" And like the actual astronomers were like, it's fine, nothing's gonna happen." But people like me were like, "Oh, come on, happen," because I wanted to go supernova. So we're gonna be safe. Nothing's gonna happen. It's gonna get really bright in the sky. It's a star in our galaxy. But like this, it's not gonna affect us detrimentally. But I wrote a story very, very, very loosely based on probably not even real science about
fake
how
science.
it will affect us negatively, and it's almost kind of like a zombie type
It is,
stuff. Yeah.
So I have a question about that. Like, so if it goes supernova, will that actually happen now, or would that have happened like forever ago and we're just now seeing the effects of it?
Yeah, it would have. So like if it brightened in the sky today and went supernova, that means it happened hundreds of years ago, because it is, I want to say it's something like 500 light years away or something. So that means it happened 500 years ago, if that's when we see the light.
Okay. That's wild to think about something like that. Like, mind blowing. Is that why you like astronomy so much? Just the vastness of space, and like what draws you into astronomy? What is it about it that you like so much?
Oh shoot.
Is that a loaded question?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, it's just, ultimately it's just pretty.
It is, yeah.
It's inspiring. I can just sit under a starry sky and just sit there and look. And I don't have to think about anything. And it's always been since I was a kid, it's always been kind of a comfort. It's always been my for some reason my grounding. Like when everything is spinning out of control, the world is spinning out of control, I can look up and that's always the same. Stars are always there. Sun's always going to rise. The moon's always going to rise and set. Like it's clockwork. It's consistent and it's there.
They're there until cool, supernova, and then they blow up and they're gone.
Yeah. And then we all die.
That's cool. You're in an area where your skies are clear enough to see that. Like,
no, they're not. I'm in a city.
Yeah, I know. I'm in a city too. And like the only time I could see anything is like when I take my dog for a walk, like at 3:30 in the morning. You know, and the sky's clear. That's the only time I see anything. But like other than that, it's usually like city lights are flashing and you don't see anything at all. Yeah. Or there's smog somewhere, pollution overhead, clouds, so you don't really get to see a whole lot. But like around 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, I see some stuff throughout the neighborhood.
Yeah,
your neighbors in the chat telling on you. You got mad at her for getting a fixed light in the neighborhood because it ruined your view.
Yeah, so the street light right outside my house, the one like right here, I can see it. It was
We
out.
have one outside too.
It was
Yeah.
out
Terrible.
for the longest time. Like it didn't work, and I didn't care because like it helped it because I have a view of the southern sky in that direction. The southern sky is the best because that's where all the planets track. At least in the northern hemisphere, that's where all the planets track. And then they went and fixed the freaking light.
Damn
You
you,
need a
for being
BB gun and
safe.
shoot it out again.
I that's what I said. Yeah, You just shoot it out. Nobody's gonna know. There's no cameras.
You had to go off and make the neighborhood safe again. But jeez. So
So
should we do
we would do one of them.
like one of the giveaways now? Like we have questions, right?
Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
We have questions. You have answers.
And these are all based. Do you want me to read them off, Red, or would you like to? Either
Nah, I
way's
don't
cool
want
with
to
me.
read. You read.
So all of these are kind of questions loosely based around some of the stories in here. So we'll do one of the giveaways. So this
Are you
is
giving away a
about-
certain thing or
Yeah. What are we giving away?
yeah?
I'm sorry, I didn't plan this out, guys.
You give away one of the art pieces. Is that
Sure.
cool?
Yeah, let's do that.
Like a particular one, or do they get to choose?
They get to
I
choose.
think they get to pick
Well, how many are we giving away though tonight?
all of them. No, I'm just
All
She's
of
got
them.
6 questions. We've got
I'll
6
give away
questions
up
for
to
6
3.
things.
We're giving away
Three
three
that-
Great.
tonight.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was mine.
Okay.
I never said that publicly, but that's kind of what I was going for. 3.
So we'll do this first one is for an art piece. So in the story, Impulses of a Necrotic Heart, about a mob boss on his deathbed. This man, who was known to be involved in organized crime as well as a leader of union workers, went missing in 1975 and his body has never been found. It is generally accepted that he was murdered by the mafia. Who is this person?
We're waiting for somebody in the chat to answer, right?
Someone in
You're
the chat.
so
Jay, you know,
old.
don't you? You know Jay.
Yeah.
There we go.
Hey, Hamlin got it.
Jimmy Hoppa. Let me write down. Where's my ink pen at? Right. Hamlin. Art piece.
Well, Silent Outlaw, you didn't win that one. Sorry. Hamlin above you won it. That's how you know.
So yeah, you put the answer in the chat. and
Yeah.
The first one.
Wait, so the
Put it in chat
person- So, are we doing? I'm sorry. So, anyone who gets an answer right, they get into the drawing to win, or how does this work? Or they just win?
Well,
It's your
How are you
art,
gonna do
Red. I don't know.
it's your art, yeah.
I know. I didn't work this out.
So
I'm
does
sorry.
Hamlin win a piece of art? Is that what we're doing?
That's the
then?
question. Is Hamlin winning a piece of art?
Whatever you want. It's up to you. It's your stuff. It's your stuff.
Sure, let's do it.
Okay, we can do that. And then we'll have everyone's name entered in the spin for the book.
Yeah, everyone in
Okay.
the chat is going to be in a spin for the book that she's going to do.
Yeah,
Right.
that sounds good.
Okay.
Yes.
So we don't want to put pressure on you, Red. So whatever you want to
So
do.
one book and 3 pieces of art will be given away tonight, Brad. That's what we're getting. Everyone in the
Correct.
Is that
chat
what we're doing?
will
Okay.
But there,
have a chance for the book.
there are 6 questions, so like I mean.
Oh, okay.
I mean, we could just do 3 questions. It doesn't matter. Whatever. It's your stuff. I don't want
Yeah,
to like,
let's-
give away all. Let's give away all Red stuff.
This is the most professional show ever.
Hey,
Look, I'm not gonna.
during the
I
intro.
did apologize.
During the intro, it says like we don't plan or whatever I say in the intro. It's true. We don't have any.
Nothing is
Nothing is
for
planned
next
on this show.
We all have lives outside of this.
Oh, okay.
Hamlin
Well,
is going to win
Hamlin-
something. Well,
Hamlin gets
Hamlin's
a
won
piece of art.
something.
Yeah.
We'll find out later what Hamlin wins. It'll be a secret.
Hamlin, you'll get a piece of art from Red, okay? How about that? Jeez. All right.
We'll come back and do another one in a minute.
What was the question?
Don't start that, Jay. You know the question was. The answer was
Okay.
Jimmy Hoppa.
Okay. all right.
Jimmy Hoppa is buried under Old Giant Stadium, by the way. Whoever doesn't know.
That's what I heard.
That's what I heard. In the concrete.
Hamlin's not picky, so he'll take any piece of art, basically. Yeah.
So
And you may
there-
win a book if your name pops up on the wheel spinny thingy.
Yeah, on the
Red
spinning wheel.
Twinkies.
Everyone,
Yeah.
if you say anything in the chat, you're in to win a book.
How's that? Okay.
Okay, I think we're gonna have to. Wait, no. If you say anything in the chat, you're not gonna win a book.
No, if you
Your
say
name is-
anything,
You'll be
your
entered
name will
to
be
win.
the draw.
you're entered to win in the spinning wheel. No, If you say anything in the
She
chat,
doesn't have
you're
20
entered.
books to give
Dude,
away.
like
man.
if I had a
Was that
lot
what I
of
said?
money,
That's
I'd be
not what I
like,
said,
"There
was
are
it?"
Books for everyone, but
you said if you say anything in the chat, you win a book. That's
Well, I meant to say if you're entered to win the book if you say anything in the chat. That's
Yeah.
what I meant. Talking about the spinny wheel. I'm sorry. Don't listen to me. Jay's in charge of this show.
it's not my show. I think the intro says that. It's not. Oh my god.
You need another drink, Red. You're empty, is what your neighbor's saying.
I got myself covered, Shirley. Thank you.
All right, so I want to talk about sort of the gamut of emotions you go through this collection, because you have stories like Dogwood, which were like really sad and depressing, and then you have what's called Bloodbogged, which is like the most disgusting story I think I've ever read in my entire life. I don't think I've ever read a story with more blood in it than that one. That was nasty.
Was it nasty because it was blood, or was it nasty because it was period blood?
Period blood. It was disgusting. Tell the people, without giving away the whole thing of that story, tell people about that.
Let's
story.
just read that one live on air.
Yeah, let's read that one.
How much have you drank
Good
tonight?
Lord.
Can you read a story for us?
That story,
I
like I
haven't
was like,
drank that much, but it's starting to feel it.
I was like 50% disgusted and 50% was like, it was just making me laugh. It was like, it was so gross. Where did the idea for just copious amounts of period blood in a story to come from?
Well,
when I say copious amounts, I mean like it said like 4,000 gallons in like 2 days she had or something crazy like that.
Yeah, she described it as biblical level flooding. Of period
I think that's
blood.
what made me laugh when that line made me laugh. Yeah.
So that story is called Bloodbogged, and I had originally written it for
Look at the
that is blood underneath her. It's not the kind of blood you think it is. I wrote it for an open call for Sci-Fi and Scary's Twisted Anatomy anthology, which is a body horror anthology. And I didn't have a lot of understanding of what body horror was, like definition wise. So the original story I wrote for that, I realized halfway through that I was like, oh, this isn't really body horror. Now that I understand what body horror is, I'm going to write a story that's more focused on that, and it's about some kind of horrific thing happening to your body. But I wanted it to mean something. And so this woman, she's like a college age girl, and she experiences the worst period ever.
I think that's putting it mildly, very mildly.
Ever. To the point where she can fill a basement with her period blood. And I'm gonna like just leave it at that. And yeah. And it's about why that happens to her. And it's about the struggles of just being a young girl who's taken advantage of.
So it's a feminist piece.
It is a little bit.
There you
I
go.
didn't realize that until
There's the connection. There's the connection. There you go.
Like, did you have fun writing that one, or were you kind of grossing yourself out writing that one?
Both. I both had fun, and I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Did you make your
I was
husband
like,
read that
I
one
can't
when you were
write
done?
that. And my mom wanted to read it. I was like, I can't
No.
send this to you, Mom. And like my guy friend Tony, he reads a lot of my stuff. He's like, yeah, I'll beta read it. I was like, I don't know.
You should have recorded reactions after people were reading it. That would have been cool. Yeah.
It's like, this one's gross. It's gross.
Is that the grossest story you've ever written?
I think it is. Yeah. Yeah, but I don't. So it's gross, but I tried not to let it be gratuitous.
It's not like extreme,
gross.
Nasty or anything like that. It's just
It's. I think it serves. I think the grossness. Every drop of blood spilled has a purpose.
serves its
I
purpose.
stand by that.
I mean, you can make a lot of connections for different. So you could say it's a feminist piece. You could say it's life horror. You could say it. It's body horror. See, it kind of hits a lot of different.
Yeah.
It checks off a lot of different pieces of horror. So it's kind of universal horror.
Universal horror.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Period blood splattered across the universe. I'm sorry.
And it was, I think it's delayed because a bunch of people just said Jimmy Hoffa in the chat. They're behind.
Oh no.
It's okay. I think it was the old period blood was the most disgusting. Where it's like starting to rot, putrefy. It was clumpy. I was like, that's gross. Brad, what's wrong with you?
That's what my mom always asks.
What's wrong with you, Red?
What's wrong with you?
Well, yeah, you have that story. Then you have Dogwood, which is like super sad, like poignant and depressing. Like
Yeah.
when you're writing these stories, like there's such varying stories. Like, do you go into them with like different mindsets completely, or do you kind of in the same headspace all the time writing these stories?
No, I'm always in a different headspace. So for Dogwood, I'm trying to remember what even brought that on. I just remember taking a walk and seeing the dogwood blooms on the trees and realizing how short-lived they were. When I was a kid, I used to pick dogwood branches off the tree when they'd bloom, and I'd bring them home and give them to my mom. So I think that's what inspired it, because I had to write a story for spring. So Dogwood appeared in Cemetery Gates' Seasons of Severance. I wrote that for that anthology collection hybrid. That's got Corey Fahrenkopf, Jessie Ann York, and Sarah Tatlinger in it. And they each have 4 stories in it, and I have 4 stories in it. So I wrote Dogwood for that. And it was meant to be a spring story because I was doing one for each season. And I started with this Dogwood, but it was also inspired by this drawing I did and this idea I had of sheet ghosts. And I don't want to spoil, so I'm not going to give away more than that. But yeah, and I just kind of went into, I don't know, I guess every story, once I have that idea, I try to think about the character and how they're going to experience that situation and what's in that character's heart. And so sometimes it's a little more fun, and sometimes it's a little darker. So for Dogwood, it went a little dark. Yeah, it went dark and sad.
I love the visual of the sheet ghost. I don't know. I've always drawn to that aesthetic. I love that. I love how you did it here. It was very, very visual for me, like, or I could see that playing out like on a movie screen or something.
Oh, thank you. You hear that?
That would make a really good, like, hour-and-a-half movie or something. I think that one.
Oh, really?
Well, so you could probably expand that story into like a novella. Expand it to a novella, it could probably become a movie.
Like True Detective kind of style, where it's like really dark and gritty.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be awful.
Expand on it. It would be awful, but I think it would be good. It'd be very compelling, I think.
Yeah. I got a kick out of Consumer Alert, because there was a part where where they mentioned that there's so many things that were ordered, you don't know what's in the boxes, where it was just kind of piling up, and that kind of hits home because we
do you feel seen with that one, Jay?
Yeah, we do a lot of Amazon shopping, and I'll come home and there'll be like 5 or 6 boxes that we don't even know what's in them.
What order?
Like, I know I ordered this and this. I just don't know what box it's in. And
I think that speaks to a lot of people.
I was making a statement. There was no question.
I think that speaks to a lot of people because, it's like, what was it? Click, consume, or whatever they kept saying in there. I feel like everyone.
It's dangerous, especially when you have Prime, because it's free shipping, and that just makes it worse. You're just like, all right, boom, 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 boom. I don't have to leave my house,
Yeah, I do that all the time. I show up and I'm like, what the hell's on my doorstep? I don't know. Surprise. Something I ordered.
So was that one you wrote for something else, like another collection with a certain theme?
I wrote that for a contest.
Okay.
Yeah, that was going back a ways. So Dark Regions Press did this contest called Black Labyrinth. So they were going to do an anthology called Black Labyrinth, and the theme was possessions, and you write for the contest. I placed 6th.
There you go.
Out of 7.
I was gonna say out of 7.
6 out of 7.
I was gonna make the joke, but I was waiting for you to do it.
And I got in, but they never published the anthology. And I even waited. I waited a while because I had rights to it for a couple of years. And I waited those 2 years, and they didn't publish. And I reached out, and I was like, "What's going on?" They're like, "Eh." They're like, "Maybe we'll do it." I'm like, "Okay, I'll wait a little longer." I waited another year. I was like, "You know what?"
Oh, that's ridiculous.
So
That's
they had
right.
they had it
That's right.
that whole time where you could have like probably sent it someplace else.
Yeah, but I mean, I think it was supposed to come out during COVID, and they got backed up. So I'm
Oh,
not.
okay.
There's no
Fucking
blame or
COVID.
anything. It just happened.
Yeah.
And so I went back to reconsider that story to put it in this collection, and I read the first line, and I was like, "Oh, this is fucking garbage." This is awful. So I had to do a heavy revision on it because I think I've improved over the last several years,
Mhm.
and hopefully that's true.
I'm
But
curious,
I noticed when I read it, it was just the story itself was solid. I think the idea was solid, but like the writing itself needed a heavy hand of
I got you.
editing.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Jason, is this your husband? Is his name Jason? In the
Yes,
comments?
it's my husband.
Telling you make Dogwood into a novel. I would be cool to expand like the mystery of what happened into a full length novel. That'd be cool. Throw some more true
Yeah.
crime elements in there.
Yeah. So I'm
You're not doing
found that
enough,
a lot
Fred.
in my short stories. That should be a novel. I'm like, well,
Well, there's your next novella or novel.
it is, but I like it. I like it fast. Fast and punchy.
So I want to ask you about your review. Like, so when for that story about the like consumerism and buying stuff off Amazon, you said you did heavy revisions. So like, what is it? Do you like go in and start from the scratch and completely rewrite it with the same
No.
theme, or you just go through and edit and rework sentences and paragraphs and stuff like that?
With Consumer Alert, I just reworked everything. Because I
Okay.
think the story itself was solid as it was.
Mhm.
But the writing, the prose was a little weak, and the style, I don't know. I just kind of updated it because I've grown over the past several years. I think I've grown.
Mhm.
And so I changed some of that. With a couple of the other stories that weren't published yet, but I had already written, I did do a heavy rewrite on a few of those.
Okay.
Like Here For You was a really heavy-handed rewrite, and what was the other one? Yeah, look at my table of contents. I don't remember. Glass Labyrinth. Labyrinth was originally it was originally like a 900 word story, and I couldn't get it to do what I wanted to do with it,
Mhm.
and as a flash fiction piece, so I added like 2,000 words to that.
Yeah, that one kind of needed to simmer with that main character for a little bit, so you can
It
kind
did, yeah.
of feel
Yeah.
what he's going through, so it relates more.
Mm-hmm.
So when you do
you
the
couldn't
like the
you
complete,
couldn't get it to do what you wanted it to do. So, like, how much? So I'm guessing a lot of it changed then, and you added 2,000. Just did you keep the same concept you originally had?
I kept the same concept. So the concept was this guy buys a labyrinth, like a glass mirror
Right.
maze, like a glass maze on
Mhm.
a boardwalk, and he had seen like some kind of death or ghost girl. He saw something when he was a kid there, and he was kind of drawn to the place, and so he bought it as an adult. Like years and years later, he bought it as an adult, and he goes in, gets haunted by this girl in the maze. But it was only 900 something words, so I had to do it really fast, and so it didn't really give time to have that connection with the character and their reasonings for being there, and so I gave it a little more breathing room
I
and
got you. Yeah.
added
I
some
mean, just because you said it was 900 originally, and then you added 2,000. I was just wondering how
Yeah.
much of the main part.
The main
Yeah.
part, most of it is all still there. I just had to
Right.
flesh it out extensively.
Right.
Yeah.
So when you do like full rewrites like that with a story, do you usually keep like the core idea of it and then just rework the whole thing, or do you ever change the idea to something completely different?
I don't think
Or
I
you
do.
us-
I don't think.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't. I think usually the idea is there and I can rework it and rewrite it, but usually the idea doesn't change much, I don't think. I can't think of an example right now. There might be one. My memory is shit.
Welcome to the club.
Yeah.
Do we want to? Dixie Bell saying that the chat's a little behind, but
Yeah.
do we want to try to do another giveaway to
Yep.
screw over some more people that say they answered and we didn't
Or
get
we
the-
can do like if the chat's behind, like we can.
Well,
do...
there is a little bit delay. There's like a 7 or 10 second delay, but still.
Yeah, I don't know.
We can-
Maybe we can just take anybody who answers correctly, and
Put 'em in
then
a
like
spinny
do
wheel.
a drawing later. Like
That's
give
fine.
them time to enter. Yeah,
I'm so confused on this show.
we're just winging it.
We're just changing the rules in the middle.
We
It's
are.
all right.
I'm
We're allowed
sorry.
to do that. Someone else just said Jimmy Hoffa. The chat's got to be broken.
Oh my god! What?
Or they-
But I'm
Or
watching it on my phone
someone
too,
needs
though.
to refresh or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, but it's on my. I'm watching it on my phone also. And it's
Well, listen, we'll
I don't know.
we'll give
I don't
Hamlin. We'll let Hamlin win that one, and
This-
everyone else that said Jimmy Hoffa, we'll put them in the spinny wheel.
Okay. Yeah,
Is
that
that
sounds
cool?
good. That sounds good.
Okay. Well,
We'll
they're
figure
just
it out
kidding.
after
Well,
the
they're
show.
no,
We're
see,
gonna-
he-
we
look,
don't
they're
know.
just messing with us.
We don't know
Nice.
the answer right now, but how about this? How about after the show, we'll look back at all the comments and stuff. We'll come up with a fair decision, and we'll make sure everybody is treated fairly. And we'll do a spinning wheel, and we might have to reach out to you after the show.
except Hamlin.
Jay-
You're going to get a piece of art. Okay.
Jay's trolling in the chat saying he was just kidding, man.
Oh,
Nice.
motherfucker, Jay!
That was 20 minutes ago. Jay, that's your fake account, isn't it? That's you.
That's not me. That's not one of my accounts.
That's not you. I think Jay's faking his account and putting that in there.
That's not
no,
me. That's
no, that's Jay. But he's an author. He's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Is he?
Jay's cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. You don't have to
Nice.
apologize. We're just messing with you. Okay. We'll do another one, and whoever answers it in the chat will be entered in a contest for a spinny wheel for a piece of art. All right. Let's see. Let's see. This is a sports question, so I'm curious how many sports people will get this. Me and Jay know.
It's
Obviously,
about
Red knows.
it's about the story "Don't Make It Weird," which is about a girl who loves
Yeah.
playing football. Yeah.
So don't make it weird.
Well,
It's
it's
about
not.
a girl.
I'm sorry. Yeah, it's not. I'm sorry. It's not about the story. It's about sports, but it's
Yeah.
sports ball.
So the story in here called "Don't Make It Weird" is a story about a girl who loves to play football. So related to that, this Buffalo Bills player collided with an opponent and suffered a rare cardiac arrest on the field in January of 2023. What's that player's name? Was that this year? I guess it was.
It was
wasn't
last season.
last season
Yeah.
this year. Yeah.
Because I was watching it
Yeah.
when it happened against the Bengals.
It,
So what's the name of the Buffalo Bills player that had cardiac arrest on the field live
Because they
last
stopped
year?
the game and it messed up our fantasy football stuff. Just yeah, it
Jay's
did.
got the first. Jay's got the last name. What's the guy? What's his first name too?
Hamlin works. Yeah, we can just go with Hamlin.
Go with Hamlin. Okay,
Yeah,
bonus points
whatever.
if you can get the last name too, or first name. Sorry. And he's on the
First.
team. He's on the team still. He's
Yeah.
He's supposed to
Mhm.
play this year.
Damar, yeah.
There we go.
He's got
Damar. There he
Damar
is.
Hamlin.
Damar
Yeah, it
Hamlin.
did because that game that stopped the game, and then we were trying to, and we were like in the playoffs of our fantasy football league last year at that time.
Someone's
we were
life's
trying
on the line. James worried about
I know.
fantasy
And
football.
we were, well, no, what it was, yeah, we were trying to because it was like 1 week before the championship, and we were trying to figure out how we're going to score properly because that was two teams that we probably have players on. I know
And then-
it was bad. We were worried about the person, but we were also worried about our fantasy football league.
It was so weird because it didn't look like anything happened. Like it was just a normal hit, and he stood up and he just fell over. It was wild.
Yeah.
Evening, Chad. We could start over now that Chad's
Hey, we
here.
can start now. Chat's here.
Hamlin.
Chat shows up just for me usually. So
So, are you a football fan at all, Red?
Not as much anymore. I was, and so Don't Make It Weird was inspired by very loosely by real life events because I was a huge football fan in the 90s when I was like a
Okay.
preteen and in my teens. I was a big Niners fan. Watching Joe Montana and Jerry Rice.
Steve Young.
And then eventually it was Steve Young, yeah.
Yeah.
And I used to play like pickup games of football and stuff like that. So I was a big football fan. And I used to daydream about being on the NFL. I thought that was going to be in my future, you know. But
So,
I was like 5'7" and at the time 130 pounds, so it probably was never going to happen. But in my mind,
so I don't want to give the story away, but where did the idea for the more monstrous aspect of that story come from?
that story was originally written as kind of a, I don't want to say literary because it wasn't that good, but it was like it was called Developing on the Line of Scrimmage. And so it came from a real life experience I had when I was about 14. I was playing with the boys, playing football. And of course, whenever I played any sport with the boys, they never threw me the ball. If they didn't know me, if they didn't know my abilities, any guy could step on the field and they'd throw him the ball because he was a guy. But I stepped on the field and I didn't get anything. I had to prove myself. I had to earn my spot. I had to earn my position every fucking game. And this one time we were playing, I was doing really well, and I got hit. I got taken down. It was tackle football. I got taken down, and which wasn't a big deal, but I landed just right, and I got the wind knocked out of me. And so it took me a minute, and I got my breath back, and then they're like, "You should sit out." I'm like, fuck you, I'm not sitting out. But then they didn't throw it to me again because I was a girl who got the wind knocked out of me, and they're dancing around like a porcelain doll, and it just really fucking pissed me off. And so I wrote a story about it.
So do you have a lot of stories in here that are sort of from your own personal experience in some way, drawn from that?
Not a lot. I mean, there's a couple where I just pull things, and I think a lot of writers do this. They just pull that little yarn of truth out of themselves, and then they expand on it and they make it something else.
Then they add a monstrous feature to it and just
yeah. They ask all the what ifs, like, well, what if this happened, And so with Hollowed Hearts, which is about a little boy who is kind of neglected, that started from, it didn't start, but that little nugget of neglect came from a real life thing. My preteen boy came in the room and he was like, "Mom, you want to do this? You want to play a game? You want to do this?" I was like, "Oh, I can't tonight. Maybe tomorrow. And I sometimes I feel like I say maybe tomorrow too much. And okay, I need to stop saying maybe tomorrow. And
yeah, I feel you on
involved.
That.
And so I just took that little bit of guilt I felt and just expanded on that. So, to a degree, yeah, there's a little bit of more of my own heart in this. I think more so than some of my other stories, like with Lucid Screams and Dismal Dreams. I think with the stories in this, something happened where I broke down a wall. I'm not, I don't allow myself to get very close to people. I think they're I'm close to my husband. He's the only guy that gets to see all of me and all of my emotions. For the most part, I should probably see a therapist. There's this fucking wall. And I think for a long time that wall existed between me and my characters too. But I think with a lot of these stories, I started learning to break it down a little bit and give a little bit more of myself, and also just kind of allow myself to I don't know, be a little more vulnerable for my characters in a sense.
Well, we wanted to celebrate the release of your book tonight. We wanted to have special guests. So lucky for you, we have Dr. Phil backstage. So come on here. And, so you need to talk to a therapist.
Is he still a thing? Is that a thing?
I don't know. I just wanted to
crack a joke, so it doesn't get too deep, Jay.
This is my therapist.
Yeah. Red started getting too deep for Saturday night, needing therapy, so I had to throw a joke in there. Yeah.
But do you feel like you sort of breaking down that wall? Do you feel like, and not that they weren't this way before, but do you feel like your stories have this more?
And by the way, now Laurel, that's in my head now. I'm going to start singing that here in a second. Yeah.
Cats in the Cradle.
Thanks, Laurel. But
well, do you feel like there's more authenticity in a way to your stories? Like they feel more real, kind of in a way. Not that they weren't before, but maybe to you more personally, you breaking down that wall, they feel more authentic, kind of. Does that
I
make
feel
sense
like
what I'm
they
trying to
do.
say?
I don't know if that translates on the page for the reader. I
Mhm.
hope it does, but I know in my heart it does.
Yeah.
Like I feel like there's a little more vulnerability to the emotions of the story, I guess.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You
Which
put
I
it,
wasn't allowing before. So I was looking back at some of my other stories, and like I tried to put it in there. I tried to make that connection, but I think there was just some kind of wall that I wasn't breaking through. And
do
I
you
think
put like a little bit of a limit as far as allowing it to be into your stories? Because are you afraid that if you put all of it, that people are gonna be like, hey, we need to get her some help? You know what I
yeah,
mean?
I'm terrified
Like
of that. I'm
yeah,
especially terrified of that for the next book I have coming out in Excess of Dark, because it goes to some I'm not okay, so these are
You need to put a disclaimer about what you're
I gotta
what
put
you're
a big
saying.
disclaimer because I don't because these aren't my thoughts, but they are like extensions of those thoughts. So everybody worries about their family losing their loved ones. Everybody worries about that stuff.
Mhm.
Everybody like has that daydream of like something awful happening. And I just expanded on that daydream of something awful happening and put it in the book. And I went to some really, I think I went to some really dark places. It's probably not as dark as what some people are used to reading, but but it was my darkest stuff.
Like for you, when you're writing the darker stuff, is it harder for you to like get out of that headspace? Do you have to step away from it and take a break, or do you stay focused on it and kind of dive in the whole time? So what Ross Jeffrey
I
he
don't
talked about he
really have.
wrote something and he had to step away because it was just too dark for him and he had to take
there's a
breaks
lot
from
of
it.
writers we talk to that they say they have to get out of that mind
Mhm.
space after
That
writing dark
headspace.
stuff. Yeah, that
Yeah.
headspace.
So usually when I'm writing something really dark, I have a very I'm here. I'm right in this spot right here, writing.
Mhm.
Sometimes I can write out in the out in the living room or in my bedroom or wherever. I can write at a table out there. But when it's really dark, I just stay in here because like I don't know, there's something about my home space where I live, where my kids are, my husband is, like that's the happy space.
Yeah.
I don't want to be out there thinking about bad things. And so I try to keep that writing in here. I try to compartmentalize it.
Mhm.
But I forgot the question already. I
Was
was
there
on a
That's
one?
okay.
tangent.
I mean, we're
Yeah,
really,
yeah, yeah.
No.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, like I don't really have a choice not to get out of headspace. So my
Mhm.
kids come home. Like I can't be moody mom all the fucking time or I'll be a hot mess, you know. I gotta check out. And there were times when like I'd be thinking about a story, and this is when my boy was younger. I'd be often somewhere and I'd hear mom, 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 and I'd be like, oh, hey, what's up? And he'd be like,
Oh
you're
yeah.
doing it again. I'd just be
So you're
like
zoned
I
in. Yeah.
was somewhere else. He's like, you're doing it again. I was like, oh shit, I need to do this terrible thinking somewhere else.
Yeah. Where do you get some of your inspirations or your ideas from? Movies or news stories, or is anything ever developed from a movie you're watching or anything like that?
Not usually. Not usually. Like usually when I watch a movie or read a book, I think like if it's really good, I think, oh, fuck, I wish I thought of that.
Yeah.
But most of my ideas just kind of come. Sometimes I try to force them for like an open call or something.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But for the most part, they just kind of come from little tidbits of real life, and just something that happens, and I kind of daydream about it, and I think about the what ifs and what would happen if this happened, and then it becomes this little idea, kind of like a snowball. It just keep
From your
packing.
friends'
Yeah,
conversations.
yeah,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
early say for your friends'
Sometimes, yeah. I
conversations.
have a little. Sometimes I go sit with Shirley on her porch. And we'll be chatting. Someone will say something fucked up, and I'm like, I'm gonna put that in my little idea thing.
That's what I was trying to get at. Who did we talk? We talked to who was it? Tracy Cross. We were asking her about it because she said that she would talk to her grandmother or great
That
aunt
was
or
her
somebody.
grandmother. Her grandmother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like just listen, ask her these old stories, and she's like
She
the whole
recorded it
time,
all. She recorded it.
she recorded it just so she could use it for story
I
ideas
heard that.
later
Yeah,
on.
I heard that interview. Yeah, that was
Yeah,
a
that
good
was pretty
one.
cool.
She was
Yeah, so
fun.
that's what you should do. Go to family reunions stuff. Say, hey, I haven't seen you for years. What's going on? And just like, oh, okay. And then in your head, I haven't tackled that yet. I'm going to do that.
You said a second ago, stories for open calls. So like when there is an open call, there's a specific theme. Do you find it that it's harder to write to that instead of just having an idea come to you naturally, or is it easier since you have like a goal, like it's going to be, I don't know, a spider anthology or something, like you have something kind of a theme already built into the story, or is it
No,
harder to try to make it fit for the theme?
Yeah, it all depends. Yeah. So sometimes the idea comes quickly. Sometimes I have to kind of drag it out of myself. It takes a little more work. And sometimes like same with like, what am I going to write next? And I'll have kind of an idea, but I have a hard time developing the idea. And then sometimes it just happens. I don't know. It's kind of different every time for me. Every creative piece is a little different in its process.
Silent Owl has a question. In your opinion, what's the best and worst thing about writing?
All of it.
Oh.
All of it's best.
all of it's the good stuff, all it's bad stuff.
About writing, the best thing is just the creative outlet. I need creativity in my life. I didn't realize how much was lacking until I started doing it again, because I was always creative in my youth, and then I hit my 20s and I had to be an adult and do things like work and then eventually raise kids, and like I just like it was gone. Like I didn't have time for it. And then when I started phasing it back into my life, like the creative thing is the most important thing and the best thing about writing. The worst thing about writing is the business aspect for it for me. Like the whole, the deadlines and the forcing it to happen. Sometimes you have to, because not, especially when you start considering writing work, which is what I'm doing now. I'm in this phase where I'm trying to make writing my job. And there's this weird balance that has to be found, so that you can still enjoy the creativity side of it without being kind of numbed and dulled by the humdrum work.
Yeah, so it doesn't turn into the job where you're like, oh, I hate this. Like,
and sometimes you just got to show up
right.
and you got to do the job even when you don't want to. And that's with any job, even jobs that we love, whether it's writing or creative or not, even jobs that we love, like there are days you just don't want to fucking go to work, but you got to go to work.
So from the writing part, so because you're doing kind of both, you're using Death Knell as your label. So for those, you got to do the writing, you got to do the publishing, get it out there and all that stuff. But then you also have stuff coming out through Darklit and Brigit's Gate, where they have to do that part where you submitted it, right? So do you lean towards one more than the other? Because one, you have your hands on every single step of the process. With the other, you're allowing somebody else to do some of that. You lose a little bit of control. Do you have one preference over the other, or what?
Not yet.
Okay.
I don't have a preference yet. I love self-publishing because of all the creative control, but I'm also an artist. I'm like an artist. So I enjoy that part of it, and I like formatting, and I like publishing, and I like the work involved with publishing for the most part. So I do like having that kind of creative control, but it's also a lot of work. Sometimes I just want to write the story and be done and move on to the next project without having to do all the other stuff. So this is really nice. I really enjoy that Darklit and Brigit's Gate are going to be in charge of this. I used to be more of a control freak, and I don't know, I'm in my 40s now and I don't have time for that shit. So I'm okay with just letting go of control and seeing what other people can do. And so far they're doing great. So I'm fine with both directions so far.
I'm sure it's got, because you spent so long writing the story and then just give it away to somebody where they can do whatever with it. It's got to be hard to let go of that.
But I was going to add to that, though, like some of these, like, we work with more of these independent and smaller press where they probably allow more of your input. Whereas, like, you let's just say, you land with one of the ginormous companies somehow, they're going to probably just take it like, okay, we're going to do the cover. We're going to change wording. We're going to publish it a certain way, and you lose total control that way. So I think some of the, the smaller and more independent press that we deal with, they'll allow some of that input from the writer, even though they're going to be doing the promoting and the publishing and all that stuff. So,
yeah. I don't know what it's like to work with a bigger press yet. I think some of it probably depends on your agent and the press that you work with and whoever's handling that. I think they allow some input from authors, but probably not much, I'm guessing.
Right. Yeah.
I haven't gone on that path. I'm open to going on that path. I'm fine with relinquishing some creative control. But when it comes to the story, there are some things that I probably would stand firm on. So with Bloodstains by Gaslight, I was talking to Brigand's Gate, the publisher, and we had an early meeting about it. I was like, I think when you get the publishing, like, I think one of the only things I really want to stand firm on is the mood of the ending, because it ends a very certain way. Like, and I'm okay with the ending changing if the editor has thoughts on that. But there's I don't want to give it away. There's a very specific purpose to what happens at the end and why we see the protagonist the way she is at the end. And that needs to hold true. Yeah. So we can alter it a little bit probably, but for the most part, that message needs to be there.
Yeah.
And so that's as long as the heart of the story is intact, I'm cool with making changes if it's going to bring in the money.
You want to do the before we wrap up? You want to get the other giveaway done, or
let's make them wait a second till the end.
To the very end. Oh, the very end. You're just gonna cause problems that way.
Cause a problem. No. I want to ask. You have I don't want to say what it is, but it's a story in here that a lot of people have this phobia. So do you have that phobia?
I do have that phobia.
You do. So what was
that
like?
Don't show the picture. Make that a surprise.
It's the picture. That picture has been shared online.
Oh, has it? Okay.
Yeah, that picture's been shared on.
I guess we should show it.
Yeah.
So you having that phobia, was that hard for you to write?
It was incredibly hard for me to write. And I think of that story as one of the lighter stories in the whole. Yeah, it's a little more of a fun one. Yeah, it's not.
Well, the one part where he falls into the sea of them was terrible. Like, I don't have that phobia, but that was like, no,
I do.
No.
I do.
Oh, too. You have. So
are we talking this one?
Yeah,
that one. Yeah. Did that one freak you out then, Jay? Look, she was that hard for you to draw then?
It was. I can't.
I don't have a phobia. I just don't. I don't like critters and bugs and
like her own pictures make her like cringe.
I can't even look at pictures of them without.
Here, let's do this again here.
So how hard was that for you to not only write the story but draw the picture? How did you draw the picture if it was freaking you out the whole time?
You
just like cover up a bunch up so you can like, oh, it's just a little piece, so it's just black lines. You can't tell. You can't tell what it is.
The picture has a lot of detail in it too, so I mean, she's
yeah.
It's not a stick figure.
It was hard. I'm a legit arachnophobe. I wasn't when I was really young. I used to pick up daddy long legs and let them crawl up my arm. I don't know what happened. I think it was a movie I watched or a dream. I don't know. But eventually, I developed. I think it was before arachnophobia.
Okay.
Yeah. But I developed a ridiculous fear of spiders. Irrational, completely irrational. I understand that. I'm a scientific minded, I like to think that person. And I can't explain it. It's just terrifying. But there have been, my husband's military, so he goes away for months at a time. And I have to deal with spiders all by myself. And so I've had a lot of very
Put a cup
terrifying
over him and
experiences
just wait till he gets back.
where I've like where I've had to deal with them. So I won't even like if it's on the ceiling, I won't even jab it with a broom or a stick or something because then I'm touching it
Yeah.
by extension.
Touching it by extension, yeah.
So like I got to this point where I'd see it on the ceiling, I'd take a big heavy book and just chuck it at it.
It's like
And
I can't
not
open
one of
up
my
page
books.
9 and 10. It's like you don't need to read those pages.
And I hate that because I shouldn't kill them. They're just spiders. They're
Right.
fine. They're
I get
harmless.
like the kids will see him or something. I get stuck. I'm like, is it bothering you? Is it too far away? Don't worry about it, you know. But like I get yelled. I think it was that Brady Bunch episode where the tarantula got was like I think it's Peter's crawling on his head at one point. Am I dating myself?
A little bit there.
Brad,
I mean,
the
I
Brady
used to watch
Bunch was
Brady Bunch, but
Yeah.
I don't
We're kind of the
remember
Brady Bunch. We got the boxes going on. We need a couple
Brad,
more people.
the Brady Bunch show. I think it's Peter that had the
I don't
tarantula
know.
on him. but-
Jan is the only one I know. Jan.
Marsha.
Marsha. Jan.
Marsha.
Yeah.
There you go. Use the salt gun. He says you'll have a salt. I
Yeah,
see the
you
salt
got me
gun
a
for the
salt
flies.
gun. But then they just splatter.
Hawaii episodes, yes. Thanks. That's what it was. Yeah.
So I had an incident in my bathroom while my husband was gone, jerk, where there's a big spider, a big one, and I'm sorry, everybody. I know I shouldn't kill spiders, but it's just me, and I have no control over
I'm
this fear.
defenseless.
I can't. So they're not allowed in my house. Damn it. So I killed it, and I hit it with. I don't even remember what I hit it with, but I hit it with a shoe. And it wasn't just a massive spider. It was a spider with like
All the
billion
babies.
babies on its back.
Yes.
And they all scattered. And he wasn't here. He was deployed. And I was just like, and I just took the shoe and I just started smashing everywhere. And I said out loud, and I don't even, it's like a fucking movie. I said out loud, what is this happening? And I just got the bleach bottle. And I just started pouring it everywhere. I didn't know what to do.
I would just drop a match and leave.
Your husband comes home, the house is burnt to the ground. What happened? There was a
Jesus
spider in the house. There was a
Christ.
spider.
Pull out a shotgun, start shooting at the spider.
So yeah, I'll deal with a spider if I need to, but it's fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
So yeah, that story was hard to write.
Take a flamethrower to this bitch.
Was that the hardest story for you to write, just because of your fear? And I'm not trying to make light of it, but like,
no, it might have been. It might have been one of the. I don't know what the hardest.
Brad,
all these stories are like
Brad,
super dark, and like the spider stories.
know.
This is horrible.
It's
what would
up
you do-
there.
what would
It's
you
up
do
there
if-
with
if
some of
this-
the darker ones.
Brad, what would you do with this if the spider bit an eyeball?
Oh no! If it
Brad's
burrowed,
thing's
like bit it
eyeball-
and went
yeah,
in.
Yeah,
Mm-mm.
yeah. Brad's thing is eyeball horror. So,
Eyeballs
like,
and super claustrophobic.
so
No,
if
I
you
don't
if you
like
could
that.
write a spider story where they're inside people's eyeballs next time,
Nope.
then
Don't like that. I don't like that.
we'll get him back. That's what this is.
I could someone like eating the pupil and burrowing in. Oh god, no, that'd be awful.
There we go.
Yeah, I'm fine, Holly. I'm fine with spiders outside. I don't kill them when they're outside. I try not to kill them when they're inside. I get my kid, not my son. I'm like, hey, you want to take that outside?
We get the
But
big
when I'm
wolf
all
spiders in
alone,
the house.
I don't know what else to do.
We get the big wolf spiders. We had one
Yeah,
the other day.
yeah, that's what we get too. They
Figure out.
come into
Big
our
wolf
house.
spiders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
hmm
They're fine. Nothing wrong with them.
This
Before-
this segment of
bef-
National Geographic brought to you by.
Before it goes too far, hold on. Your neighbor wants you to tell them the axe story. Is that something traumatic and terrifying as well?
Axe story. Oh.
Or is that a hush hush thing you shouldn't be talking about?
Shirley, shut up. We
She
buried
used
him
an
months
axe to kill the
ago.
spiders. That's what it was.
No, my husband wanted an axe, and so for Valentine's Day, day before Valentine's Day, I went to Home Depot and bought an axe, and I went in. That's all I bought. I ran in, grabbed the axe, went to the self checkout. Self checkout guy just kind of made eye contact with me, and I held up the axe, and I was like, Valentine's Day, and he laughed so fucking hard.
That should be a story. That'd be a good short story.
I did write that story.
Where's that at? Which one's in it? One?
Fuck
Too
it.
many
Sorry.
stories.
It's
She-
called
she
Valentine's
wrote-
Day.
She wrote a
I
screenplay
think-
to So I Married an Axe Murderer. That's what it is.
I
Yeah.
think it's in Lucid Screams.
Is
I
it?
think.
I think it is. I
No,
think
maybe
I've
it's Dismal
come-
Dream. I gotta look. I don't know. I don't know what I.
You're
wrote.
so prolific, you don't know where anything's at.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, Dismal Dreams. It's in Dismal Dreams.
Okay.
Valentine's Day. Yeah, it's a little flash fiction piece about a woman who.
I think I remember
an
that
axe. It's kind of a revenge story.
We'll do the last giveaway real quick. Is that
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. Yep.
Wait, who won the other two?
I think there's only
Shut
one.
up, Jay. We're put him in the wheel. Quit.
Hamlin
quit.
Hamlin won.
Hamlin won.
Or-
Hamlin won,
Yeah.
and then Jay and Christina both got Damar, so they're in
Okay.
the wheel.
So they're going to be in a drawing. Are we going to do the drawing ourselves, or what are we doing here?
We'll do that later.
Yeah, we'll do it after the show, or are we
Okay.
doing it on the show?
We can do it. We'll do it after the show.
It's your
Okay,
show,
we'll do it
Brad.
after the show.
Well, since we're talking
Announce
about
it
spiders,
In the morning.
since we're
or-
yeah, we'll announce in the morning.
Okay.
Since we're talking about spiders, we'll do a spider one. How do you
Peter
say is it?
Parker.
Arachnu.
Arachnu is about arachnophobia. This species of spider is considered the largest by weight in the world. Just feel it in my palms how heavy that would be.
I don't think
So
I
what
know
is the
that
largest spider by weight in the world?
This is what Google is for.
That's what Google's for. That's where all our trivia comes
Yeah.
from, is Google. So if we're wrong, it's not our fault.
I know. I had to look that up.
So the largest spider in the world by weight.
Oh,
Do you remember how
red.
much it weighed?
Fuck if I know. Wolf spider. We got a red-footed Goliath.
Wolf
I never even heard of this
spider.
thing.
An
I don't know if
Australian one?
that's- I
Yes,
don't know.
Rowan. It's probably an Australian.
Probably an Australian one.
It's not a wolf
So,
spider.
I will admit I made this question based on a few Google searches, so I may be wrong. So if one of the people answering know I'm wrong, feel free to defend your answer.
Is one of the words in it?
Yeah,
like
someone's got
meaning
part of it.
Yep.
Yeah. So Paul Shepard is pretty
Yeah, he's close.
I mean, he might be right. I don't know.
No, but I'm looking. I just found it. I think it's
The
that
other one.
that word along with a certain kind of animal. I can't say that. Never mind. Someone's going. Yes,
There you go, Holly.
put those words together. Part of Paul's
Just
answer,
Google
and then
it,
what you're
everybody.
saying.
Just Google
A word for really
largest
big,
spider.
Yeah.
and then
You-
it eats birds.
Use part of what Paul's answer was, and then add yours.
The red bird spider.
You chose the wrong ones.
Big bird
The wrong
spider.
words.
Shirley. Fuck that spider. We'll add Shirley in there because that's just a good one.
Holly's pretty close. But what's the Goliath? There you go, Joe.
Bird eating.
Goliath.
Joe
Goliath
Madrid
bird
got it.
eater.
That's what it is.
I think we should enter all of them. I think we should enter Paul, Holly,
everybody?
and Joe. Yeah,
Okay.
because I don't know how accurate my answer was.
I just googled it. That's
Goliath
the first thing that
spider.
came up. Yeah,
I mean, there
We'll
might
put
be an
Silent Outlaw in
etymologist
there,
out
too.
there.
we're
that
trying to
knows how to-
charades like that word.
Yeah.
So they really eat birds? That's terrifying.
I don't know. I just looked it up.
Jay's getting slapped at me. I can hear the laugh. I can hear the laugh. It's coming. It's
Like,
coming.
I don't know what we talked about on this show. We talked about spiders
We
eating
talked about-
birds.
We
The
talked
Brady
about all these great
Bunch.
stories.
Yeah,
Talk about the
they're
Brady
great.
Bunch. Talk about burning down houses because of spiders. Like
Talking about biblical proportions of
Period
sure.
blood.
basement
You
full
can't
of
even say
period
it. You can't even say period blood.
Period blood.
Oh, geez.
spiders don't fly. I guess they jump, Holly. They leap from tree to tree.
Have you seen these spiders? These spiders are huge as fuck. They're big.
Maybe
What are the
birds
ones-
are just really stupid.
What are the ones in Afghanistan? Camel spiders. Those are big. Have you seen those?
Mm.
They're like you hold them up like a dead cat. They're huge.
What do you call a camel spider with two humps?
Hold them
spider,
up like
I
a
don't
dead cat.
Yeah, Google camel spider. One of them is like a military person holding it up, and it's just
Yeah.
like they're holding like a cat. It's huge.
What do you call a camel spider with 2 humps?
I don't know, Jay. What?
Pregnant. I don't know.
That's terrible. That's
Thank
terrible.
you, everybody. Good night.
Thanks for watching, Jay. Jay left on that one. He's gonna go eat dinner now.
He's a 2-hump chump.
What's the
Jay, Jay needs to go to bed. He's slap happy. Look at him.
what's the cartoon with shoot, I gotta ask my kids. But the joke in there was, what do you call a camel with 2 humps? And the answer was pregnant. Like, what's the cartoon? It's
You have to give us more than it's
Never
just a
mind.
cartoon.
never mind. It's a movie cartoon. I've
That
seen so
narrowed it
many.
down a
it's-
lot.
yeah, I know.
That narrowed it down so much, Jay. It's a cartoon movie.
Okay. Yeah, I think we're done. Hey, we're gonna. This is the book we're talking about. I got the glare on it.
You got hold up, good Jay. There you go.
Wait, we got
Impulses
one
of the-
more. We got one more question, right? Or no?
Did
Are
we?
done?
That was 3, wasn't it?
That was
that
3.
3? Oh, that was 3. Okay.
Yeah. Did you keep
That was-
track of who is in which drawing?
Yeah, I wrote their names down.
Okay.
I'm
I
glad.
did something.
Somebody's
I
on
did something
point tonight.
constructive.
Yeah, I know. I just usually show up and it just stay here. So, impulses of a necrotic heart and other afflictions. Red Lagoe came out yesterday.
Yeah.
Sold where
Yeah,
fine
dude.
books are sold, right?
It
I
is
mean,
everywhere.
yeah, it should be.
Yeah. There you go. Everywhere.
It should be.
Before we
yeah,
leave, Red, give us
online.
what's your elevator pitch for your new collection? Sell it to everybody. Make them all
Sell
buy
it for
it.
spiders
Sell it
and
for us.
period
I
blood.
never made an elevator. Okay. Okay.
Okay. Serious time.
You see this hole? You want to get into that hole.
Get in the hole.
Get in the hole. This is where the dark and terrible things happen. And the necrosis of the heart. Think about all the terrible thoughts you've had. Think about all the terrible things that have happened. It's where you want to be. Read this. Fucking, I can't be this person. I can't be that. This is why I'm not an actress.
Get in the hole.
Right.
There's-
Get in the hole.
That's just the only sound clip from the whole episode. I'll be fine with that.
Get in the hole.
Please read my book.
Yes.
I
Pick it up.
think-
Seriously.
I like
It's
to
a
think
good
it's my
collection,
best
guys.
yet.
Yeah.
But that's probably just because I think I'm growing as a writer. Anyway.
You are. It is really, without the whole joke, it is a really great collection. I do think it is my favorite of yours.
It is. I think.
out of the 3,
you.
is,
Yeah. Because we
You
get a
know,
little darker in this one, I think.
yeah,
I
all
think
the
so,
stories were
too.
great. There wasn't a story was like, meh, I could have done without that one. Like I thoroughly enjoyed every story in here. They were all great. And then you get the friggin' badass artwork with each one. I mean, come on.
Oh yeah.
We'll show this one because that's our wife's favorite.
Yeah.
It's gonna look away.
It's well, there's 15 pieces of art, one for each story.
Yeah.
It's great.
All right.
Definitely go check it out. Be on the lookout for her longer works coming, novella and a novel coming out. I'm totally on board for both of those.
Definitely. Everyone in the
Get
chat,
this.
thanks so much for hanging out. We really appreciate you sticking
Thank
with
you.
us this long and showing support to Red and joining in on the activities, trying to win things. So, thanks.
That's
a lot.
how I got
Really
you
appreciate
here. I was like, I'll give you free shit.
it. Yeah, it works.
It's
It
works.
trauma from middle school when nobody showed up at my party.
Yeah,
Red
My
gives away the
birthday
best
party,
of.
I was like, nobody came. Like, I gotta give away free shit from now on.
You give away original art. You gave away like a meteor last time we were on the show.
I
That's
did. I'm
right.
like, love
Yeah,
me. I'll give
I
you.
forgot about
things.
that. All right, so that's it. That's a wrap. That's going to
Get
do
it.
it. That's the way the
Wrap.
cookie crumbles.
We'll
Get
let
in
you
the
know
hole.
who won in the morning.
Red, we appreciate you coming on again. We're always appreciative if anyone comes on more than once. I don't know why anyone does. So you've been on, I think, 3
Yes.
times now. So thank you so much.
You guys are fun. Everybody should come on the show.
Putting up with
It's a
all
good
this.
time. It's a good time.
But yeah, definitely go check it out. It's an awesome collection. It's got a little bit of everything for everybody.
Thank you. I'm sorry I didn't like comment. I don't have the mental capacity to like read the chat and engage.
We don't either.
Like I don't.
I
I'm
don't.
sorry I didn't
Brad
say
controls it.
hello, but thank you, everybody who showed up tonight. I really appreciate you, and I appreciate your support.
Yeah, everyone's
go.
saying
We're done with
congratulations
that.
in chat.
Yeah.
Tony, where the fuck were you?
That's the end.
That's how we're going to end it. And that's the end.
Love
Tony,
you,
where
Tony.
the fuck were you?
Goodbye, everybody.
See you guys. Love you, Jay.
I know you do.